I will start by highlighting the reason why we are here. We are here to be able to learn how to grow businesses, for those who want to start businesses, and those who already are into the business. You know, one thing that drives me is my passion. I am very passionate to seeing African businesses grow as a whole. And I want us to move from small business to creating real entrepreneurship. So what we are going to discuss here is how do we move from small business to creating real entrepreneurship. Because there's a difference between business and entrepreneurship. There's a very big difference, and we'll learn about it. But before I go further, I want us to listen to a video. There's something we call the right business, and it's what we want to discuss here. What really is the right business? Because we keep asking ourselves, what is the right business? If I can only do the right business, or if sometimes we even try to do the business they are doing. So for example, if you hear that there is a business, for example, of hiring projectors, and it's doing very well, you want to get into that business because you think it's a right business. So I don't know if I can start making it a forum. I want to hear, do you think, Morgan, is the right business?
From the video, I think there is no right business. Then what brings the difference is the resilience that the entrepreneur has from the video that you have just seen.
Okay. Morgan has said that there is no right business, but what matters is the resilience of the entrepreneur. The resilience of the entrepreneur. Brian.
I think business is all about passion. So if you go into a business because someone is there, when the challenges come, you might not be able to overcome the challenges. But if it is something you are passionate about, I think you're able now to be persistent and you'll have the resilience.
Okay.
Yep.
I think there is no wrong business.
There is no wrong business. Is there a right business?
No right business.
There is no right business. So, at the course of this talk, we are going to be able to know if there is a right business or not. And if there is a right business, I would like to be part of that right business. And I want to start by saying that every business starts as a startup. Every business you have ever heard of starts as a startup. And for me, I always believe that there is no right business, but there is a right business. There is no, when I say there is no right business, I mean there is no nature of business that you can say if I start selling sugar, that this is the right business. In my interactions with the entrepreneur, I've learned a lot. I'm privileged to where I work as a business banker. I meet business people. I meet people who do turnovers of billions. Like I have a person I know who is doing a turnover of 3 billion in a year. And I meet those who are not. And what separates these two people is not the type of product they are doing. I have seen somebody fail in the same business that other person is making billions. I have seen. So I'm saying that to me, it is about the sculpture of the business, the model of your business, the sculpture of your business. It's not the nature. It is about the structure of your business. It's about the business person. It's about resilience. It's about passion that we have said. That's what makes it a right business. So we'll come back and say that there is truly a right business. But the right business is not made of the product that you're selling, but is made of what that sculpture of the business is. I'm calling it a sculpture because it involves the owner of the business, it involves the product, it involves the process. And when I say it involves the product, doesn't mean that the type of product we're dealing with. No. That's where branding comes in, as we are saying. And we'll look at what is it, together deeper we'll realize that what has made real entrepreneurship. And when I say tunataka tuwe real entrepreneurs, that we want to build real entrepreneurs, I mean that we want to build businesses for the future. I always ask myself, the businesses that I am in and what I've done, am I able to go to my kids when I'm old and tell them, apart from the land that I've given you, I'm giving you opportunity, this business, I'm leaving it to you as an inheritance. That's a business that is building the future. And when we look at Indians, for example, these people start very small. They grow and build businesses for their kids, their grandchildren, to inherit. And those are businesses I'm calling businesses that are built for the future. We ask ourselves a question. If you're given an opportunity to come back after 200 years, if you're given an opportunity to come back after 200 years, will you find Safaricom still existing, for example? That's a very big question. All right? And that is a business that is built for the future. And I've said that all businesses were once startup, and entrepreneurship is about rigidity. We have seen in the video there that there are times an entrepreneur has zero in the bank account. There's a time there are no sales, but he keeps waking up every day. You will never be able to do the right business. If you try a business, then you give up. You reach a point where you feel like, I cannot do this anymore. You have to have that resilience. And I'm not saying that you become too rigid, that you're making losses, but you're still saying that I will not give up. We will learn. You can adapt change in your business. You can do what you call transformation. You can transform. But you don't give up as an entrepreneur. That's why we are saying entrepreneurship is about rigidity. It is a commitment to stay. That once you get into business, you get committed to stay. How many of you know about chamas? My grandmother belonged to one, and it really helped us. Chama, where they used to call it merry-go-round, where the chama, they collect money, they come together, then they collect money, and then they give a loan to one of them. So they collect money. You've had the model, they collect money, then they put it somewhere, then they give a loan to one of them. Then that money, that loan, he pays in an interest, so the money keeps growing. I work in a bank. What is a bank? A bank is an institution that collects money, puts it somewhere, and then gives it to somebody else. That's what they do. So if you want money as a bank, we will ask Brian to bring some money, deposit. And then we tell Brian, we will pay you some money for putting your money with us. Then we lend James, and then we tell James, will pay us some money. So we use the money that James is paying us to pay Brian, and the difference is what banks live on and make billions of money. Now, I just don't want to be a prophet of doom. I want us to be very practical and agree on one thing, that Chama and banks are built on the same model. Chamas and banks are built on the same model. So what I'm saying, and I started by saying it's about the sculpture of the business. And in my slide there, I've highlighted that it is possible that me and James can start the same business, operating in the same market. So maybe Luduri, we are doing the same business. Tuko na almost the same capital, the same mental capacity. Our staff who work with us have the same degree and qualification, but one business outperforms the other, and I mean with a mind. Other business is very successful, and the other one is not successful. It is possible. It is very possible. And we'll see from the examples ahead. So what makes that difference? Why is it that we are doing the same business, I'm very successful in it, and the other person is not? So what is this person doing different? And we have seen that Chama and banks are built on the same business model. Now, in my home area, we have what we call kiosks. They are small shops where if you want to buy milk in the morning, you buy milk from there. If you want to buy airtime, they stock items. And because I've shown you that this is a kiosk, this is an example of a kiosk. They buy from, the things they sell, they don't belong to them. So they go and talk to somebody who sells sugar, they buy sugar, then they sell it to the customer at a profit. That difference is what a kiosk lives on. What is a supermarket? A supermarket also does not own the products, buys from the person who for example, sugar they buy from manufacturers or packaging companies, and then they stock them for sale. And I dare say that these two businesses are built on the same model, but one business has outlived the other in my opinion. That if there's something that we should take out of this forum, is to kill the small business mentality. That for me, I just want to remain small. I just want to have my small business. I don't want to grow. I want us to challenge ourselves to start small, but thinking big. Start small. Start selling eggs, for example, but thinking big. And that is the problem we have in Africa. We have a very big problem of just wanting to remain small. I call it a small business mentality. But tunataka tukianza kiosk, mine remains a kiosk. I don't want to grow. It is too risky. It is too risky. And for those who have dared to grow their businesses, start small and grow, they have seen the fruits of growth. And that's why we look at them and then we say that these guys are doing the right business, or these guys are lucky. But the people who have started small and dared to grow and become big. So what does it take for you to grow? We have said it takes passion, that you have to be passionate about your business. And you have to also be resilient. There's something we call people capital, the people you work with. One thing that has, I find it blessed in the businesses that I do, is that I have one of the most amazing team. Because you have to invest in your people. I really discourage doing business alone. Some people are more comfortable doing business alone, but I think that if you get the right person, you'll be able to do much more. But business is like marriage. You cannot just get somebody just because you want not to be alone. Business is like marriage. You have to get the right partner. And you have to sell your vision to your partner. Sell your vision to your team. Let them know the why of the business. And that's why I'm calling it the people capital. Just make sure that you are all in the same page. Because you can fail in business because of the person you have get into business with, because of your partner. If you get into business with the wrong person, you can end up failing that business. Most business people have failed terribly. They have started businesses and failed. I can start with a very good example. Your company, what we see there is called the FedEx. The company does, it's like DHL. It sends, it's a courier service. A very big company. But this guy is called Smith. Went to his college professor and told him he wants to start the company. And he told him, your idea is not viable. Your idea is not feasible. When we look at Disney World, the second photo there, this one, this is Disney World, where we want to always take our kids and have fun. It's another world altogether. And the guy who started it is called Walt Disney. And when he went, before he started his business, he was fired by a newspaper auditor for having a lot of imaginations. They say he keeps imagining a lot. And he has too much imaginations, and they fired him. They felt like this person is dreaming. If you go to Disney World, you will see that the business is full of imagination. So all I'm trying to say, there is KFC. There are very many examples. You guys love KFC chicken. Most of you love chicken from KFC. And how many of us know that the owner of KFC is called Colonel Sanders? Colonel Sanders. His recipe was refused 1,000 times. He went with his recipe for chicken, and hotels refused his recipe 1,000 times. So I'm saying, and from the video that we have started, that business people, most business people have failed before. They have started something and failed. So the fact that you have started a business and failed doesn't mean you are in the wrong business. It doesn't mean you are in the wrong business. You can imagine KFC. Colonel Sanders' recipe of chicken that we love very much was refused 1,000 times. The owner of Disney World, Walt Disney, he was told he has too much imaginations, and he was fired from his workplace. FedEx gave an idea of starting his business of courier services, and he was told that your idea cannot work, it's not feasible. So that's why I'm saying that for us to be able to break the ceiling as African business people and entrepreneurs, we have to think beyond failure. And the statement that I have there is that sometimes in business, failure can be our best motivator. And I started by saying that this forum, my main objective is to be able to breed real entrepreneurs, not business people. And we'll see the difference, that a business person, sometimes I get, in my place of work, I interact with a lot of business people. And sometimes I tend to be too frank with them. And I remember there's a friend of mine that does tendering. I also do tendering, where you go to government, for example, and then you get a job to supply something, and then you supply them and you make a margin, right? For me, that is a business, but it's not entrepreneurship. And I keep on telling, I know it is a very common business in Kenya. I encourage those who are not doing it to start doing it. But in the end, they should know that it is not entrepreneurship. It is not a real business. Because I say building a real business is you build a business for the future. You build a business that in the next 50 to 20 years, there is a possibility that this business will be alive. That you can go to your kids and tell them that apart from this beautiful car I've given you, I've left this for you as a gift, as an inheritance. And that is why we are saying that when we go to entrepreneurship now, entrepreneurship, and we'll see who an entrepreneur is. we have two types of entrepreneurs. We have the success entrepreneur. And in success entrepreneurs, I also call them lifestyle entrepreneurs. Lifestyle, they start lifestyle businesses. And all they want to do is to build wealth for show off. They want people to see the type of cars they have, the big houses they will buy. Those are lifestyle entrepreneurs. And I'm not saying that you should not start your business and saying that I don't want to make any money. Money is part of the reason number one of entrepreneurship. That's part. No one should lie to you. Your business is not charity. It's for the money. But they have started to build the value on themselves. All they care is that you're buying and they're getting money. If the product you're buying is fake, they don't care. They're just caring that they're buying, they're selling to you, and they've made money. So they're building their own value. These are success entrepreneurs. This is the biggest cancer in our continent today. The biggest cancer. Let's say in our country, Kenya, today is the biggest cancer. That we have very many success entrepreneurs. We even look up to them. We look up to them, we see what they have achieved, and we say, we want you to go and do that. They want to build an image of success. They want to build a business. They have a very big image of themselves of success. But let's look at the other type of entrepreneurs that I wish that we can bring. The legacy entrepreneurs. These are people who start businesses to build wealth, but intergenerational wealth. They want to build, they start it for their kids and their grandchildren. And I really love Indians and the way Indians do their business. An Indian will start a shop, or a shop, retail shop. And you will find, and you will ask him, he will tell you this shop was started by my grandfather long time before I was born. They build businesses for intergenerational wealth. They delay gratification. That Mercedes-Benz can wait. It can wait for you to be able to grow. And we started by saying that the biggest challenge we have in Africa today is the small business mentality. We want to start a small business and then remain small. We don't want to stretch ourselves and grow. In fact, some people even fear loans to grow. And I really encourage us to really seek for loans, not to start a business. You never go to a bank to finance you to start a business. That's the first mistake. You don't build equity from debt. Banks come in, and if you go to a bank and you ask the bank to finance you to start, most of them will not. They will not. Banks come in to help you grow and expand. Because you cannot come to me and ask me to finance your dreams. You want me to risk my money in your dreams. You have to start, prove the concept. Make that loss with the little money that you have. And we started by saying that, funny enough, chamas are built with the same concept with the bank. They take money, then they lend to one person. But what separates a bank from a chama? What if we start our own chama and we start by taking deposits from each person and give a loan to one person? Then we build a history. We go to a bank and we say, now we need huge financing for growth. So I say, there is nothing wrong about starting small. In fact, I encourage starting small. If you want to start a factory of eggs, I would say it's better you start by selling eggs, boiled eggs on the streets. Learn the basics of entrepreneurship as you grow, but as you think big. Let's not be comfortable on the millions that we make, or on the thousands that we make. I also, before you came in, I also touched about the most important asset in a business is not the money, it's not the machines, it is the people that you are working with. And I say let's invest in people, let's have the best teams in our business. And I say that entrepreneurship is like marriage. You cannot just get anybody just because you want to grow a team. You have to sell your ideas to them. You have to also know your numbers. You have to know your numbers. I'm surprised by entrepreneurs who are running businesses or business people that don't know their numbers. They don't know their account. You have to be able to be so careful and understand that your numbers is everything in business. You cannot just go to your business and remove money and pay. There are people who just write checks, sign checks for their business. They have turned their business account to their personal account. So if you owe them money, they will pull out the business check and they sign to you and they pay rent to their business. There's nothing wrong with that. But do you know your cash flow? Are you able to follow through your cash flow and know that this withdrawal I'm making from my business has an impact somewhere? There are people who have even created cards and they pay stuff online with their business account. So you go and ask them, they don't even know the balance that is in their account. So you have to know your margins. I will give you the brief history of Nokia when they started back in 1989. And what they started doing? They own up Nokia. And you'll be so shocked that they started as small as that they started, and they are a brand. Okay, I know most of you have they have the iPhones, but let me ask now, how many of you have iPhones? So now, do you know all those brands that I've mentioned were not the first one to start making mobile phones? Why have we kept ourselves in a mentality that we have to, for us to be successful, we have to be the only ones doing this business, or we have to be the first person to start the business? So I'm saying you start you can either create or discover your market. You can actually create a market. I can give you an example where I've started on Vega Foods. I've realized that people have a problem to order meals, especially those who are working. They keep on calling, and we are working on an advert to advertise our product. And what we are saying is one person is calling to know the menu in a restaurant, and the waiter reads the whole menu over the phone, and sometimes airtime is not there, and you are not able to order your meal, or there's a connection problem, or he cannot pin where you are. Mwambia advisory towers ameenda London building, zinafanana, or haya name London building. So there's that problem. So we decided we are creating a product, and we are going to discover the market. That you get on your mobile phone and you click, and you say the food that you want. Sometimes you don't have an idea what you want to eat for breakfast. So the app can suggest to you that today, actually, around you, there's an offer for a burger. You buy one, get one free. And then you click, you give you make sure that your phone location is on, and the restaurants get an alert that you're ordering a meal and they bring it to you. That's a market. I've decided to create a market. You can also discover a market. You can go and discover that actually there is a need for me to package and sell milk, or there is need for me to start a laundry business here in this market. So I cannot come here and give you a list of businesses that are the right business for you to do. But I can go to your business and look at it and say this is our own business you're doing. And I can go and look at your business and say this is the right business. And I want us, as we live here, you are able to see what you are doing or what you want to do and say, I'm actually doing the wrong thing. And we do what we call transformation. And we look at transformation and change. And now, this is very passionate topic for me. That once you stop innovating, once you stop becoming better, once you stop growing, you have started a kiosk and you have stopped growing, then you stop existing as a business person. And that is what I say, that the biggest challenge we have is the small business mentality. You want to start a kiosk that has the same concept in the supermarket, but you want to remain just having that kiosk. We are comfortable with that. My business makes 20,000 and I'm able to pay my rent, I'm able to take my kids to school, that's all. I don't want to grow. And I dare say that the moment you stop growing, the moment you stop innovating, you stop existing. And I want to give you a story about a company that was started in 1889. At that time, how many people were there in 1889? The business was worth $125 million in revenue. It was called Ox Barren. Ox Barren business were making tires. They were making tires, wooden tires. I think I have this slide. I'll show you. Ox Barren were making wooden tires. They were worth $125 million in 1989. And they were being pulled by cars like that. In 1900s, Ford started Ford company of making motor vehicle. He's not the first, but he is not the inventor of motor vehicle. He just came up with a Model T vehicle. But in 1989, Ford brought some competition to this company because he was making motor vehicles. So they decided to hire a guy called Jeremy Boyd as a man they call head of innovation, Jeremy Boyd. Now, Jeremy decided that we are going to move from having this kind of a tire and another wooden tire that looks like this. You see this tire? It's wooden also. So it's lighter and it moves fast. But Jeremy also noticed that when wood and wood scratch itself and there's rain, it breaks. So it came in early 19s, they discovered steel. So they combined steel and made a better, you see this is the first model of tires, Ox Barren. They made the second one, and then they made steel tires. So the tire looked like this, but it was made of steel. Jeremy Boyd went back to the management, told them that if we stop growing, we stop existing. And he said that actually we can combine steel and rubber. We put steel and then rubber on top of it so that it moves faster and we avoid friction. They fired him immediately in 1920, the year 1920. A guy called Jeremy Boyd. His last name is Dunlop. His last name is Dunlop. That is the steel tire. This is the guy. And if not for him, we could not have tires that are made of steel and rubber. Let's go back to there's a guy called, in 1974, there was a company called, the company was called Smith Corona in 1974. Smith Corona, the largest producer of typewriters. they were at $500 million EBITDA. That is the profit, 500 million US dollars. Highest producers of typewriters. In 1974, that time, before, we call it BC, before computers. Before computers. And there's a guy called Richard who walked in, and he had a very small business. It's called Richard. And they were funding him. Because they had so much money, they were funding his idea. And he made, he worked there for 3 years, and they saw the business is not profitable. They fired. After 3 years, they saw, we are funding this business. And after 3 years, it's not yet picking, it's not making any business. They stopped funding. The CEO was called Jim Thompson. And the guy called Richard was coming up with an idea of making a computer, that his computer was very large. And he said, Jim Thompson told him that human beings will never need a computer. They are created, they are very bright. So all they need is a typewriter. Their brain and a typewriter is a computer in itself. Human beings will never need a computer. So they kept producing computers. His last name is Richard Dell. He's a producer of the 4th largest computer producer company. Nokia started in 1865. They were making pulp out of wood. That's where they started, wood. So they made tissue papers. You can see, I have an example of Nokia tissue paper. I don't know what it is. You can imagine Nokia. I want you to see that. Nokia. That's where Nokia started. Then they moved into the business of making gumboots. They're very innovative guys. They moved there, and they were making, in 1890, they were making gumboots. They made gumboots for farmers. They were making a lot of money. Then they moved into making tractors. They said now farmers have gumboots, they're giving them tractors. They made tractors in 1912. They started doing what Telecom is doing, cable business. In the 1990s, they produced the first phone. They started making phones, connectivity. And they did not stop there. They came up with the first QWERTY keyboard. QWERTY keyboard. They came up with the first QWERTY keyboard. And they were very happy, making a lot of money. But unfortunately, they stopped there. After they made QWERTY keyboard, BlackBerry picked up. And BlackBerry said that we are not just going to give business executives a QWERTY keyboard. We are going to add some communication feature into it. BBM, the messaging platform. And once Nokia stopped innovating, they stopped existing. That is why we have Samsung, we have other brands that have phased them out of business. And that's why I'm saying that the moment you stop growing as a business person, the moment you stop innovating, you stop existing. And I started by saying that in this forum, we want to kill the idea of a small business. We want to make sure that that dies. And I'm not saying that you should not start a small business. But I'm saying after you start up, you should know how to grow up into the value chain. You should move up. We have a lot of what we call survivalist businesses. Businesses that are just have enough to pay bills and survive. And it's not bad. That's where you start. And you know what is called a survival business? A survivalist business is a business that does not have cash flows to keep your business going for 18 months. So if you're running a business, I'll ask you, do you have to exist in 18 months. And why 18 months? Because I want you to get time to start having a long-term thinking in your business. And if you don't have this cash flow, what time will you take to start thinking of growing from gumboots to from paper to gumboots to mobile phones? Because you'll be thinking, I need to make the next profit. So that is why most small businesses are caught up in the process. They are caught up in the process of producing, selling, getting much money, paying themselves, paying rent. That cycle goes like that. But after we do that, we have to make sure that we position ourselves to grow. And you position yourself to grow also by positioning your cash flows. Make sure you have a very good statement. And if you need support from funding institutions, from other entrepreneurs who are willing to fund business, then you have to be able to know your numbers. Because once you go to somebody who wants to fund you and you don't know your numbers, you don't have a bank account, you just receive your money and pay it out. You don't know how much you make in revenue, you don't know your profit margins in your product. Because no one wants to risk money on things, as I say. So another thing, we have to be willing to think in transformational ways. We have to move from change thinking to transformation thinking. And transformation is what happens when a butterfly grows from an egg to larva to pupa to adult. That's the difference. And the businesses we are seeing here moved in transformational ways. And then we have to move away from fearing the risk. It's not about how big the risk is, but it is how big the vision is. We look at these two brands, Facebook and Amazon. Facebook operated for 7 years without making profit. Who can run a business in 7 years, no profit? And that is why I'm saying that we have to go back and ask ourselves, why am I building this business? Amazon looks very good, but if you look at their books up to now, they are not making profit. Amazon does not make profit up to now. As big as they sound, they're still making sure that they push their marginal cost low and keep out competitors. But resilient that one day they will reach there. So, all I'm saying is that BMW can wait. It can wait. That very fancy big phone can also wait as you grow your business. And Malcolm Gladwell, there's a book I love, it's called Outliers. And Malcolm Gladwell said that if you do something for 10,000 times, you become an outlier, you become an expert on it. But I'm sorry to challenge that concept and say that does not work in business. It's not necessarily that if you do something for very long, you become an expert on it. It's not necessarily that way. Because the rules in the business keep changing. If today you're doing entrepreneurship, or tenderpreneurship, sorry, you're doing tenders, there are chances that the game can change in the next 3 or 5 years, and you will be phased out of business. So Malcolm Gladwell's concept of doing something for 10,000 times, 10,000 hours, I think works for footballers, because the football game doesn't really change. The field is drawn the same way. The 11 people, and the concept of the game is the same. Or the tennis game. There is no time you hear that now tennis has introduced two scoring points, or now the area of serving the ball has been changed. The rules are the same. So what I'm trying to say is that as business people, we face a lot of risks. a lot of risks because rules keep changing all the time. And so we have to think about growth. The biggest question would be, how do I move to the next level in my business where I am right now? What does it take for me to move to the next level? Do I have to start a tech business like Dell? Do I have to start? All I can say is that just think in a transformational way. And I say transformation is how the egg turns to a caterpillar, that to an adult, and later on to a beautiful butterfly. So I am glad when we are asking for expectations, I do not hear somebody say, I want to know which product should I start doing so that I can become successful. And I have a range of businesses that you can get into, but I will always say that get into where your heart is. If your heart is in agriculture, like me, start small in agriculture. For example, I'm very passionate about agriculture, so recently I said, let me buy very heavy milk producing cows, start them. And I bought 3 breeds. One from Holland, another local breed, very heavy producing cows. And I said, I will not sell my milk to Brussels because they're buying the milk at 27 shillings per litre. So I went to another town and I started a milk shop. So milk, 3 cows, direct to the consumer, selling it at 70 to 60 per litre. That's now thinking in transformational ways. Because I'm making that margin while they're buying it at 27 shillings, I'm selling it direct. So I went ahead and said, I want to start a chicken farm. Bought chicken, started a small farm. And then I went to that same milk shop. And I opened the second door and called it Big Chicken. So what I do, I buy chicken from other farmers, my own farm. And then I have a deep freezer where I put those chicken there. And then I sell because I make the magic. So mine, I believe into selling my items directly to the consumer. And I'm hoping that milk shop one day transforms into belly milk that I can package and sell to some. I may not have the capital to buy the machines now, but that is where my thinking is. I'm starting small, but thinking big. And that is why I'm encouraging other entrepreneurs to start those few chickens. Open a small kiosk, learn the business. Look at the margins that I'm making with milk. If I'm selling my milk, other farmers are selling the milk at 30 shillings to Brussels, and they're still making the margin. What about if I'm selling it directly to the consumer at 60 shillings and 75 shillings? So that is where I'm calling that you have to start a growing, but not a growing business. Not a business that looks huge, but a business that is growing with a strategy of growth. And then we can have a small discussion. But I want to finish with a very sad information to all of us. That there is possibility that we have sat here for 2 hours and listened. And there is possibility that we will go home and do nothing with information. Whatever we've learned, we'll go back home and still do the same things we used to do. We will not think in a transformational way. We will not dare. We started a video by showing how the life of an entrepreneur is. He shows up to work every day, even when there's zero in the bank account. Even when he's tired. Eventually, you see those big things that they own, and then you say that guy got lucky. That guy is just doing the right business. I will finish by putting the video again. But there is a chance that after learning this, the little that you have learned today, that you will still go and do the exact thing that you have always been doing. Because there's a study that was done in Harvard, and human beings are controlled by biases. There are two biases that affect a human being. In Harvard School of Business, they took 39 A-level students, 39, divided them to group A and group B. They took them through a thorough study, group A, and they told them that the sky is blue. They gave them papers of evidence, overwhelming evidence that the sky is blue, group A. They went to group B. They gave them overwhelming evidence that the sky is not blue, but it is made of tiny particles, water particles, cloudy particles. They gave them evidence. After that, they mixed up those guys. Actually, after that, they took the evidence from group B that the sky is not blue and brought it to A. They told group A that I have bad news, that what you have always known, that the sky is blue, it is actually made of tiny water particles. And this is the evidence. Then they went to group B and said, group B, you are taught, always taught, that the sky is made of tiny cloudy particles. It's not blue, but here is the evidence that the sky is blue. Overwhelming evidence to the contrary of what they believed. And then they asked these guys, now after you have been given evidence against what you used to know, what do you believe the sky is? Do you think the sky is blue? Or it is not blue, it is just made of tiny particles? Each group held the exact knowledge they had before they were told what they used to know is not true. They held the exact same belief they had. So group A believed what they knew earlier, that the sky is blue. Group B, they said even after you've given me all this evidence, the sky is blue. So what I'm trying to say is that as human beings, we have the biasness to hold into what we have always believed. So the mind tends to resist what we knew, what the new information that we are given. So as human beings, and myself included, I'm encouraging us to challenge ourselves, to go against that biasness and build legacy business. We challenge ourselves to go, we push ourselves, we leave our comfort zones, and we challenge ourselves to grow. We challenge ourselves to learn every day, because that is where you learn and get ideas. Alright? But we have to know that we are controlled by biases. That we want to always do, we want things the way they used to be. We want to maintain the status quo. The way we used to do things, that is the way we want. The way I used to put my chair, that is the way I want my chair to be put. We always want to do the things the way they used to be. So we have to think and do this, what this vision is like. We challenge ourselves. So I want to end there and say that our next business forum, fourth business forum, will be on what it takes to start a business. We want to start from the basic. What does it take to start a business? I know most of us have already started a business, but we want to get deeper into. There are many things that we cannot exhaust today, and I say that a good business is built on 3 P's: the people, the product, and the process. And I say that the process is key. You at least need to have 2 of those perfect. If I come to a business and I look at the people, the product, and the process, and 2 of them have a problem, then I think you're in the wrong business. I can give you an example. I first interacted another lady, I won't mention the name, but he was doing a business of flowers. And he told me, Ben, I want you to help me get to the next level. I have been here for the past 4 years. And I started by simply asking, where are you located? Where is your location of the business? Because that you can start making a mistake of the business there at choosing the location. He told me I'm located at T-Mall. And it's inside the supermarket, the big mall. And he told me he has very good salespeople who stand in the business and they wait for customers to come in. And I told that these are not salespeople, they are ushers. Because they wait for clients to walk in and then they buy flowers. And you look at the structure of that business. The lady has been pumping money, personal money, borrowing money from friends, borrowing money from parents to pay rent and support the business. That was not a wrong product, but it was a wrong business because of how he structured the business. He first needs to get an office, even out of CBD. He first needs to identify that my flowers are needed in offices. That is the biggest income earner for the flower business. So he walks into the bank and tells the bank, I've seen that in the CEO's office we keep changing flowers every day. I want to see how we can get this business. So every day it comes from Imaradai, where there's cheaper rent. And he has to look at the kind of transport, the way he's packaging his flowers. Maybe it is wrong for you to combine rose flowers together in one vase, and you have to take one flower and the other flower and combine it. And then the cost changes because the money you used to buy rose flowers is different from this. So all I'm saying that the issue is not really the product, it is how you have packaged your business. And that's why we say the issue is the sculpture of the business, the structure, the process. How does your product reach your clients? And what are the internal structures of the business? So our next forum, we will dive deeply into what it takes to start a business. Because we say every business that started was once a startup. Even Facebook was a startup. So it is not wrong to be a startup. It is not wrong to make losses. We say that for 7 years, Facebook made losses. We say Amazon, as big as it is, it has never made a profit. So we look at what it takes to start a business and then what it takes to grow a business. So I'd like to end there and say thank you guys for listening to me. And we must admit I've learned a lot from all of you guys. The ones that you interacted, the businesses that you did. And my request is only one, that you have to have a strategy to grow. I don't mind that we can always share ideas together even out of the forum of how we are able to take our businesses to the next level. I started by saying that I sit in some board of businesses and I've had a privilege to see a business that could not afford a loan of, let's say, 1,500,000. And right now, they have a turnover of 500 million. And not because of the product that they are doing. It is because they have put 2 things of those in the right place. That is the product, the people, and the process. At least 2 are right. So before I close, I want to open the floor to any comments, any questions, so that we make this a bit more interactive.
Yes, Monica.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think I'm the oldest man here.
We are privileged to have you.
You told us you are beginning. Where are the others? I mean, do it 1,000 times.
I read the
Perfect.
Yes.
I don't think that's what the author was saying. Actually. You have to get it literally. That is exactly what it is.
Getting the wrong.
Yes.
Yes,
I
yes.
think we are trying to tell you, be consistent on what you're doing. Have the willpower to continue doing it until you start profiting from it. But it's not telling you
The resilience.
the resilience and the patience to do the job. So you don't tell any business person, do it 1,000 times is when you get profits. But starting at once and once.
Yes.
Yeah, and somebody will do it more to get his profits. So the profits we get at different stages. Some take longer, some take short. What we call short term and long term.
Yes.
I think that's what the author was saying. Apply the resilience and be patient for what you want to get. Just like you were telling us, let that Mercedes-Benz win. Because sometimes Mercedes-Benz will bring losses.
Sure.
You don't you buy the money you got, but you don't know how you are going to maintain it. Maintaining a car takes a lot of expenses and a lot of money.
Sure.
Do I need this car this time? I would say there you are a clever man, but you're not smart. I want you to be smart. Another area, you are telling now Amazon is not making profit for the last 7 years. I disagree with that.
First.
I want to say it is a smart business. Whatever the profit they are getting, they are not bringing it out to be a profit, but they are using it to expand.
Yes, yes.
They are using that profit to expand. So that you don't see them making a profit.
Sure, sure. They are
So you can make profit, but don't call it a profit. Because they are flashing it back to the business. So that business goes to the size, from smaller size you are telling us, small. The size is smaller, but they are trying to expand.
So they're investing in their growth.
Correct. It is like starting a school, a private school, or a nursery school. And you want this nursery school to go into private school, and a private school to go into a secondary school. You will not show the teachers that you are making profit. But at the same time, you are paying the teachers. You are right. If you are not making profits, what are you paying teachers for? Because that is a gross profit. It is a profit statement. It's called gross. That is why you are able to pay your teachers. But you don't want to show you are making a profit. Because the teachers will start demanding an increment.
Sure.
So you become smart. It is nursery. It is a primary. It is a secondary. Then one day when your school becomes number one, you start giving gifts. Those who have stayed with you for long, those who have been serious, those who have been there for that business to grow, they are the first people you will increase their salary. Because they who come here, they want big salaries straight away. They have not contributed to the expansion of the business. So I believe Amazon is making those profits. That's why they are paying those people who are working there. That's why they are expanding. That's why they continue selling their wares. And that's why they keep on improving their wares. They are making profit. But if they declare it, they will have problem with the employees. Because majority employees want an increment, but they have not contributed to that increment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And as you said, you are the oldest in the room. I agree totally with what you said. We have the same point on one thing, that you have to be resilient. I might not have elaborated that if it's the gross profit or the net profit, because as you've said, you can make profit, but you are reinvesting it into expansion. You are opening more branches. You are buying maybe better machines for your business. You are adding more employees. You are expanding your product line. But at the net profit you don't have, or you want to lie to the taxman, or you want to. But I think one point that illustration brings along that we agree is that you have to be patient. You have to be patient to grow. You have to delay gratification of some things, because some things are not worth it. I've done a deep study on some companies, big companies that have fallen even in Kenya. For example, Chum, for example. I'm sorry to mention names, but you will find that there's a time they bought land in Thika, and they bought land from a company called Thika Road Mall. And when the revaluation of the land was done, the revaluation account was negative, meaning that the land was bought exorbitant in exaggerated prices. And they had a strategy to open branches everywhere. And they once told their directors in a board meeting that you will wake up in the morning, they are telling shareholders, and when you look outside, you will see Uchumi near you. And they had a slogan that was almost close to opening branches. They had an expansion plan, but the expansion, sometimes you also have to strategize your growth. They had a plan to put world-class IT systems. The MD said in 2002 that he wants to stand and look at a board like this and see all the branches real time. They had a strategy to double their floor space. They had 200 square meters average. They doubled it to 480 floor space. So sometimes you walk into Uchumi and you find that the flow is very. They started what we call hyper markets. So sometimes in growth, and we'll discuss it in the forum of what it takes to grow, you also have to plan your growth. Yes, you need a machine, but do you need to buy it now? Sometimes, recently I faced a person where I work in a bank, and he has one contract in a dam to go and dig a dam. He told me that I want you to finance me to buy a caterpillar, an excavator. I asked him what is the cost. He told me I'm buying it about 8 million. What is the project value? He told me project value is about 9 million. So he wants me to finance an item, and I told him I'll finance you 1 million. Go higher, create some profit to grow. So we agree that on one thing, that you have to be patient to grow, and it is good that even if you're not making profit as a business, you are investing into your product. That is also thinking in transformative ways. I don't know if anybody has something else to add. Maybe now we can play the videos and finish. You can switch off the light.